Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Benita. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Doctor. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks a lot.
Glad to meet you today on this live session. And we are going to talk about a very interesting topic of gifted and talented students. So today we will be discussing, and I'll be asking you a few questions that have come up from our other viewers. And we will be responding to these questions. And from your knowledge, ocean of knowledge, you would be giving them some piece of advice for guiding the students of gifted and talented. So it's going to be useful for our teachers and all our parents as well.
Thank you so much, Benita, for picking up such a wonderful topic. You know, gifted and talented children are often get ignored because normally we are so concerned about the children on the spectrum or children who are facing some kind of challenges. But these children often get ignored, and I have noticed that our regulatory authorities are very, very careful that they should not be, one among many, but they should be spotted out, supported, helped, so that we see to it that they're bringing up, they are sort of performing to their optimum level. So thank you very much for choosing this topic, and I'm very passionate about it. So I'm looking forward to some questions from our viewers and seeing that we answer them so that these children get the best parenting at home and they get the best educational environment at school. Thank you so much.
Surely, Doctor, and welcome. So let's begin. The first question today is, how can we identify gifted and talented children?
Very, very good question. See, the moment we talk about gifted and talented children, we're talking about children who are more able. So they start showing the symptoms right from the beginning of the school years itself. Actually, when they're very young babies, the cautious parents can notice that they are very, very smart. Smart in the sense that their thinking abilities are much better than their age mates. So they are quick thinkers, they are abstract thinkers, they run ahead of time of their age. So first is their thinking ability, and when they start to communicate, their communication ability, they use higher vocab, much higher than their age level. So what level of cushioning the age mates do, they are often higher than that. And not only the vocab and the communication skill, but because they are smart thinkers, they're very inquisitive students. So they ask a lot of questions. So with the naked eyes, if a parent or a teacher notice these kind of things in a child, at least the basic screening is done. Well, there are a lot of areas which we can look into and identify them. But if they're appearing in a school setup, so identification is a triangular formula. First thing is, now in Dubai, most of the schools are using international benchmark. And one of the international benchmark is CAT4. Now, CAT4 is basically for the cognitive abilities. So as we know that they are smart thinkers, they are very, very smart in their academic achievements, most of them, not all of them, certainly, depending upon which field are they talented in. Some of them could be exceptionally good in art, dancing, dramatics, sports. They can be very, very good in, visual art, performing arts, or whatever. Now, even academics. But the point over here is, how do we identify? Most of them do indicate higher cognitive abilities. So their scores on CAT4 is, at least if we see on the STENINE graph, they would be all on 7, 8, and 9. So we know that on a bell-shaped curve, the ones on the lower end, 1, 2, and 3, are the children who have some kind of challenges in those particular areas. And 4, 5, and 6 are the children who are average and the major part of the bell shape. So our bell shape curved is like this. So it has a tail, both the tail ends. And these are the children who fall on the higher tail end. So when we talk about CAT4, that could be one indicator. So all the children in the school who are in one area or more than one area. So CAT4 actually assesses 4 areas. So it is verbal, non-verbal, quantitative, and special. And if a child is on any one of these areas, falling 7 or above, should be picked on for a detailed assessment for gifted and talented. That's one. Then we can always use another international benchmark, which is more for the academic thing. So some of the schools are using assets, some of the schools are using map. So these are the tests which will gauge them, their language abilities, so their reading, writing, or comprehension. They are using their maths or science and their abilities in those areas. And because these are international benchmarks, based on that, again, we can identify the child who is at least two grade level above operating in mathematical abilities or in scientific logic and reasoning or in linguistic skills. We identify them from there. But just one may not be good enough. Some of the children could be very smart and they rote memorize it. They're very, very hardworking children. So they are not gifted, but they are so smart and they put in so much of an effort and so much of memorization that they also start performing higher, and especially in academics. And to triangulate, the third factor which we normally take is the school's internal assessment. So 2 benchmarks, and if we take the school's internal assessment, that also is very, very indicative. First, when we talk about the giftedness, so these are the children who are high performer, 90 percentile and above, and we spot them out. So we spot the ones based on the CAT4, we spot on the cognitive abilities, we spot them based on the MAP results, we spot them based on the school internal assessments, and of course, the children who are performing amazingly well at the school level. It could be artists, performing arts, or it could be, singing, dancing, gymnastics, it could be sports, excellent sport, who are representing school, not only at the national level, but international level. Any one sport, if they're exceptionally good, these are very clear indicatives. And then certainly we have the standardized tests, and based on all those standardized tests, we can put this data and then identify that how the child is and where the child is. So when school is trying to identify their population of children who are gifted and talented, I think it should not be just one tool, but the multiple tools. And then certainly teachers and parents' input will be of great help, and then finalize the data. That is the process which should be used for the identification of gifted and talented children within the school campuses.
Yes, yes, doctor. That was really a good guidance of the different tools that are being used to identify, because it's not just one parameter or criteria, but a number of it, which collectively gives us an idea of the talent and the gifted abilities of the child. We would also like to know that, is being gifted a disorder?
Oh, this is a brilliant question, Ms. Benita, because I have gone through the interviews of a lot of gifted children, and believe it, they find themselves out of place because they are not like majority. As we said, that they are on the tail end, and the tail end is a very, very small tail. So very little percentage of children are gifted. And as majority of students find them different because the kind of questioning they do in the class, or the kind of the talks they do, more mature, and the kind of the responses they have, so they've been singled out. So now, do we call it a disorder? Certainly it's not a disorder, but a lot of them say that they were never very happy in school because they were always singled out by the teachers or by the friends, and it was so difficult. And somehow researchers have also shown that emotionally they do have certain challenge in terms, because they may not necessarily be very, very mature and be able to deal with this kind of singling out by the peer group, or even the siblings at home. Now, it is certainly not a disorder, but it certainly needs special attention. So when we say that SEN department, which is the special educational needs department, need to have them on board as well, because they need certain programs which are very, very, these programs which cater to their needs. These are the programs which actually is able to give them a platform where they feel comfortable and able to satiate their curiosity, because they teachers sometimes might find that they are time wasters in the class because they drag the discussions too long. And it really needs a lot of education on the part of the teacher and the parents to understand and appreciate the kind of the curiosity they show and they depict, and the kind of the questioning they ask. So it is not a disorder, but it certainly needs a special attention and a special training to the educators and the parents who cater to them at their home. And it is very important to have the gifted children parent support group, because for parents also this is something new, they don't really know. And if both the parents are working, at times this becomes very, very demanding. So it is important that we educate our parent community about it, because having a gifted child at home is a demanding thing, so they should know it, how to deal with it. Sometimes the parents snub them down because of their too much of inquisitive nature. So I think it is very important for all of us as educators to be aware about it, and then guide our lovely team of parents so that they know and they share with each other their experiences, so that we can provide the best of the psychosocial ambience to these gifted and talented children, not only at home, but even at school. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. This was an eye-opener, because many of the teachers don't understand this concept, and also that this is a collective effort of the teachers and the parents and also the SEN department. So collectively, when they come together, the necessary support to the student is available. That was a very nice information, and I think so this will help most of the teachers and parents to realize what kind of support is required, because it's not a disorder, but it is a special attention at least to be given, and it has to be given, that support, if you want to develop the child's gift and talent in that manner. Doctor, we would like to know, what are the qualities of the gifted and talented students?
Thank you very much, Benita, for this question, because I think it is very important, whether it is a child, whether it is a student, whether it is a youth, whether it is an adult, whatever age or stage they are in, their first characteristic is they are high achievers in one area or the other, because their capabilities are operational at high intellectual level. They're more creative, more artistic, more sporty. So they have the capacity to perform better than their age mates, even in academics. So they certainly need that kind of a support, which is very, very important. Some common characteristics of these gifted students are that their alertness. Even in infancy, they're unusually alert. So parents see them, they're very, very cautious about the psychosocial ambience and what's happening up there. But not only that, they are very rapid learner. Anything you try to teach them, and they're able to put their thoughts together so quickly. So these are some very basic characteristics of these children, and that is why it is so important for parents to be aware and more observant about their exit. And they have, normally most of them will show exceptional memorizing skills. So even the photographic memory is very, very good. You take them somewhere, they'll be able to remember the route when they go next time out there. Or if you give them a task to memorize, they're able to finish remembering it much faster than their age mates. And their vocab is unusually large, and they use the complex sentences at a very, very young age. The structure, the kind of the sentence structure they use, it is certainly above the age level. So these are the components which talks about, these children being able to stand out from the rest. So there's so many, even their level of advanced comprehension, the way they comprehend, even the complex meaning of poetry, they can, very easily comprehend it. So these are very easy kind of indicatives for a teacher or a parent to identify them in a crowd, then certainly, of course, it needs assessments to stamp it out, to ensure it. They enjoy problem solving. If you give them any kind of a problem situation, they love solving it. And these are the children, they're self-taught. So whether it comes to reading or their writing skills, even at the preschool level, they will show, amazingly higher level of the skill. Even they're more, their feelings are more intense, their reactions are more stable, they're very deep thinkers, and they're highly sensitive. They're very, very sensitive, most of them. Of course, there are exceptions always. They're thinking, they think at the abstract level. They're very logical, they're very insightful about the things. And believe it, idealism, sense of justice, even at a very early age in their communication is seen. And these are the children who are concerned about the social and the political issues. They're so aware about their surroundings, and they cannot stand injustice from a very, very young age. They have a longer attention span. They are, they have an intense concentration, because often parents talk about it. Again, this is not a thumb rule, but these are some of the characteristics which can be seen in them. Even their questions, they ask such probing questions at a very, very young age, and they learn the basic skills very quickly. With a little practice, they will master a skill, so which their age mate may say take much longer time to learn. And they have a very wide range of interest, and they have extreme focus in one area or the other area. So they can always show that, excessively interested in the cars, and they would be able to tell you any car, their models. They would be able to give you all the details, which is not expected in that specific age, and they develop a very high level of curiosity. So they learn much faster because they ask so many questions. Their questioning does not stop, to satiate them, to see to it that they're very satisfied. Their interest is, amazing, doing different things. They love to experiment things. They love to put the ideas and the things together. That is not a very typical thing which you will observe in children. So there's so many areas where they stand out from the rest. They are not at the same level of their age. So that is one thing. But it's not that all these areas, even one of this area is there, which is outstanding, mind-blowing. You say, wow, this seems to be a young child to make a statement like this or talk like this, or is very mature for his age. Then it is a reason for you to test him on giftedness. So it's somewhere coming from his intrinsic ability. So there's so many things which I can point out where they stand out from the rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. These were very useful points, because this will help the teachers and the parents to identify if their child or student is either gifted or talented. So thank you so much for these detailed qualities that you have described of the children. We would like to know now, what is the difference between gifted and talented?
Very, very good question again. See, gifted children are born with an inborn capability of learning things faster, doing better things. Talented children are the ones who have better skills in the area. So talented child could be an extremely good dancer. So they have used their giftedness into a specific area, and they're very talented. So it could be sports. And if they have a high body-mind coordination, high gross motor skills, and the child has amazing performance in cricket or football or lawn tennis or any of the sport for that matter. Or it could be just a great dancer in the school who's been bringing trophies for the school, whose exceptional level of performance talent. It could be art, that a born artist, the way he draws, the way he put colors, the way he uses his imagination in the expressive art. So it could be any field in which this gifted capability has shown up and the child shows that specific talent. And that doesn't mean people think that, if a child is gifted, will be performing on the top of the class, will be the highest performer in all the subjects and will have no challenges in any of the subject. May not be a right thing to think. They may have only one specific area where they might be doing exceptionally well. So it's not that there's a child who is on one area performing very high and on the other area is finding a challenge. He is not a gifted child. So when we are comparing gifted and talented, gifted certainly talks about inherent abilities of performing high. So whether it is their thinking skills, whether it is their feeling, whether it is their action, in any domain, it's much higher than their age mates. So it is normally 2 grade level higher than the other children. So they're able to perform better, which can be noticed from the early years. Talented, if they are, so they have actually used their giftedness towards the area of talent and they are exceptionally good in one of those areas. So the basic difference between them is this, and the basic similarity between them is their inherent thinking qualities, their inquisitiveness, or their creativity. The talent is there, which they can utilize it, but they're exceptionally emotional. So this makes them, similar and different from each other.
Thank you, Doctor, for explaining the difference. And it's a very delicate difference between the gifted and talented. And that's where we need to identify them correctly so that the support to them can be given in the correct manner. Is IQ connected with gifted and talented?
Oh, certainly, yes. IQ is the thing by which we can actually tag them as gifted children, because normally from 80 to 120 IQ is an average IQ. Below, we say, are different kinds of challenges. The child could be an educable child, trainable child, or even lower than that abilities. And above 120, like 130 and above, could be a gifted child. Anywhere up there, 130, 140, 150, that all indicates towards giftedness. So the moment I say IQ, actually first let's understand what is an IQ. So IQ is an intelligence quotient. And what is an intelligence quotient? So intelligence quotient is basically a ratio between the mental age and the chronological age. What is the mental age of a child? The operational age at which he's operating. What is the chronological age of the child? Actually how many years he's been born and his actual age, the physical age. So suppose a child is 10 years old and he's operating at 8 years of age. So 8 divided by 10 multiplied by 100 will calculate his IQ. And certainly because he's operating at 8 years of age, he's below 2 years lesser than his abilities. Similarly, a child who's 10 years old, but he's operating at 12 years, 13 years, so he's above the level of his ability. So basically the formula for IQ is mental age divided by the chronological age multiplied by 100. So if the child's mind's age is more, that means his thinking abilities are much higher. He's an abstract thinker. He's able to put and learn faster than others. That means that his inherent abilities are more. And there are various intelligence tests which can be used to identify, even within the subcomponents of intelligence, which are the areas which are his strength, which are the areas which are his, like when we talk about memory. Now memory is 3 R's: reception, retention, and recall. Now when we talk about these gifted and talented children, not necessarily all of them would have excellent memory. Memory is just one component among many when we talk about intelligence. But general IQ is higher, even if the specific area can be of challenge, but generally they have high IQ, and 130 and above is gifted.
Thank you, Doctor. That was really an eye-opener, because sometimes we are not able to judge what is IQ, and we just use the term IQ in a very casual manner. but the real meaning of how it connects with the child and the qualities of the child is being understood and clarified by you. And thank you so much for the clarification. There is a concept of double E. What is this concept of double E, doctor?
Thank you so much, Ms. Benita, for asking this question. This is very, very close to my heart. Probably we will have next session full on double E because the time is running short, but I would like to touch on double E means double exceptional children. And who are these double exceptional children? These are the kids who appear on both the tail ends of a bell-shaped curve. So that means they are exceptional, they're gifted, but yet they have some challenge. So the children on the spectrum, children who have ADHD, a lot of them hyperactive. Researchers have shown that about 12% of gifted children are sitting in the ADHD pockets. So for teachers, now say for example, the child is on a hyper mode all the time within the classroom and he distracts the classroom. So he's been tested positive on ADHD scale, and the total focus is reducing his hyperactivity. But if this focus is shifted to his strength, which is his giftedness, probably he can be painted a success story for school and he can be a great performer. But then who would understand that? So that is why I think the regulatory authorities are so much more focused on it, that understand what their strengths are and then work on their challenges accordingly. So double E is an amazing concept, and a lot of gifted and talented children are actually sitting in Zen pockets where they have some kind of challenges. Either they are on the spectrum of autism or they have some kind of an hyperactivity challenge, but whatever it is, yet they have their giftedness in them. So double E is the beautiful concept, and I think in our next session for the leadership series will be totally dedicated to double E. Who are the double E children? How can we identify double E children? What can we do to help them to improve their performance on the school scenario is what we are going to discuss in our next topic. That is the complete details on double E. But indeed, it was a pleasure answering this question on this platform.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And surely this double E concept seems so interesting that we will be doing the next session of our leadership series on double E, so that it would be helpful to our parents and teachers. Thank you so much for the session today, Doctor. And thank you so much for sharing so much of useful information with all our parents and teachers. And we look forward to the next session.
I really wish and pray that all these recordings reach to our educators, reach to our SEN team members, it reaches to all our parents around, so that our children get the best. And don't miss out our next session, which is not the coming Saturday, but a following Saturday, because coming Saturday is going to be Empower the Determined series, and the next Saturday will be the leadership series, where we will be talking about the double E concept. Thank you so much, Benita, for this, giving me a chance on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We are grateful that you have shared with us so valuable information. Thank you, our viewers, and thank you, Doctor. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Take care.